Alright, welcome back to more Demon Souls, Soul SL1 NG+7 pure black world tendency, and we can immediately see the effects of the world being at pure black. As we start fighting the red phantom of Satsuki, who is a friendly NPC under other world tendencies. Because I don't want to fight him and the skeleton at the same time, I have removed the Thieves Ring, which causes him to become hostile after taking a few steps in his direction. This can be a tough fight because he has a lot of HP which he can heal multiple times, and due to the lack of hyper mode your damage output will be very low. So your best bet is to find the right attacks that drain the right amount of health when you block them. However, even in hyper mode he takes quite a bit of abuse, because he will most likely find multiple chances to heal before you get a chance to kill him. I guess that From Software wanted to provide offline players the opportunity to experience some of the cancer that PvP players have to put up with. There, the only thing missing is the pointing down gesture. World 4.1 is one of the few levels where you're actually better off not being in hyper mode. Because if you can't avoid these rolling skeletons, blocking them gives you the opportunity to attack them from behind. They are extremely weak against blunt damage. In fact, even one-handing the mace, which you don't have the stats for on Soul SL1, will still do more than enough damage. However, you are almost guaranteed to die if you face two at once, so slowly inch your way forward, so only the one closest to you will get aggroed. And if you're lucky, like I was, you'll actually be in hyper mode once you get behind them. Here you see me one-handing the mace, much more damage than you would expect. The next couple of skeletons are a bit tricky, as one of them will be firing arrows at you. Fortunately, if you manage to pull off a backstab, you'll be invincible during the animation. The two skeletons above the fork wall can be safely ignored. However, once you get through it, you're in Stormbeast territory, and make sure that you have the Thieves Ring equipped again. Regardless, even so, you still need a bit of luck to get through here. Without a bow or magic, there is no way to defend against these flying stingrays, and you'll probably won't be able to keep track of where they are at all times. Oh, well, that's fair. Now I know how Steve Irwin felt. Obscure reference. Anyway, let's just try that again. The best way to get past these gold skeletons is to simply run past them, because if you take your time fighting them, chances are that the stingray will harpoon you again. Be careful of the arrow trap here. You can also choose to block these arrows and equip the Makoto sword to get into hyper mode for the boss, but given that it's basically the easiest boss in the game, that's probably a bit overkill. Once you enter the boss room, just drop straight down to avoid his tongue attack. After that, the fight is, well, already as good as over. Just make sure that you don't get greedy and casually walk behind his back when he attacks. And as usual, after beating a boss, we celebrate our victory by committing suicide. After all, we need to get back into soul form. Fortunately, there is a long drop down just up ahead.
Are we there yet?
No.
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 Are we there yet?
What the hell is that?
World 4-2 is the part I dreaded most having to do without sniping enemies from a distance with a bow. But it is doable, using soul remains, so make sure you have enough of them in your inventory. This level has no shortcuts, so you probably want to carry more than you think you need. You don't have to bother fighting any of the enemies here, just walk all the way to the end and drop down onto the switch. Even if you get immediately killed afterwards, the door will stay open. There are 3 skeletons down there and one of them fires arrows at you, so slowly approach them until the one closest to you aggroes. Then quickly run backwards so you won't be bothered by the one shooting arrows. Now equip soul remains and drop one down to distract the archer while you're fighting the other skeleton. Throw another soul remains on the ground to distract the 2 golden skeletons. Be careful though that they will actually attack this decoy, so it's possible to accidentally get hit that way. Past the doorway to your right is a small ledge and further down below is a reaper. Roll onto the ledge and drop another soul remains down to distract the reaper. Then drop down to his level and knock him off the ledge. Once he's dead, all the enemies he spawned automatically die as well. There isn't much room to run past these red phantoms, so make sure to wait for them to attack your soul remains before you get past them. Now it's time to get into hyper mode, so block the attack of this ghost until your health is low enough. Now don't make the same mistake I did and use the falchion instead of the mace, because that won't kill the Reaper around the corner in one hit. And apparently that's really necessary. Anyway, let's do that again, but with the mace, as that will definitely kill the Reaper in one hit. Now be careful of flying jizz, you don't want it to explode all over your face. The old hero is blind, so using the Thief's Ring will allow you to sneak up on him, as he then also won't be able to hear you. However, because of that, the boss will simply attack at random, making him unpredictable. So when you approach, be ready to dodge away if he just happens to attack at that precise moment. If you die here, it's all the way back to the beginning again. The Storm King is not going to be that much different from regular New Game, apart from the fact that you already have the Storm Ruler in your inventory. This fight is not all that great, as it basically comes down to nothing more than hiding behind a wall and waiting for the boss to come down so you can get a couple of hits in. Keep in mind however that even though the Storm King himself cannot hit you, some of the smaller Storm Beasts can. So after you block some of their attacks to get into hyper mode, make sure you clear out the ones that can get behind the wall. And keep your guard up, as it can be hard to tell how many there are still left. After that, it's nothing but a waiting game. And that takes care of World 4. Only one Archstone left, but I saved the worst part of the game for last. So join me again in part 5 for a fun time in Proto Blindtown. Please leave a like, tell me your thoughts in the comment section and subscribe if you would like to see more.